Hi everybody, welcome to my 50s kitchen. Today I am going to be sharing with you the Epicure pad thai, and I want to go over a few things with you before we get started with the cooking. So one of the things is the pad thai noodles. So a lot of the pad thai noodles you can buy fresh, and that's a totally different thing. We can talk about that another time. This is how most people buy their pad thai noodles. They're already dried. And I want you to just see the color of these noodles. They look just like kind of clear and a little bit creamy colored. And if you notice on the package, even on that package, this is the one that I used today, it will say, bring a large pot of water to a boil. No. Okay. We're going to do this the traditional way, and you do not boil rice noodles like this, okay? So what I want you to do is take your rice noodles. You're going to take the whole package, or you want about 2 cups of rice noodles for this particular recipe. And we are going to fill a pot with cold water, and we're going to soak our noodles for about an hour and a half to 2 hours. If you want to soak them overnight, you can do that. But when you soak them overnight, they become a little bit softer. And if you like your noodles to have a bit more texture, a little bit more chewy, which is what I like, I do it for about an hour and a half to 2 hours. So these have been soaking. And I'm going to just drain them out in the colander here. And I'm going to show you in the colander, I'll pull them up for you, the color. So you can see they've become very pliable and they're very white, okay? So that's what you want your noodles to look like. You want them to be very pliable and very white, and then they're ready for you to cook your pad thai with. So that's number one thing. So now, and I hope that was a tip that maybe you didn't know, because on the packages it even says to boil them, but that's not the authentic way, and they come out really good this way. So we're going to first take 3/4 of a cup of hot water with 2 tablespoons of soy sauce, and we're going to stir in this package of seasoning mix. So I have my little knife here, and I have a little bowl here, and I'm going to put in my 3/4 of a cup. You can use our Perfect Portions measuring cups for this if you have them. Mine are on the way. They're being delivered. And then 2 tablespoons, just let's make sure, 2 tablespoons of soy sauce. So I've got my soy sauce. You can use lower sodium soy sauce if you're watching your salt intake. And we're going to use our Perfect Portion spoon. I'm going to just turn you around just a tiny bit so you can see what I'm doing here. And I'm going to do 2 tablespoons of my soy sauce. And now I'm going to take this package, stir seasoning with all this, and I'm going to dump that right into the bowl. So these are our easy dinners, and it's going to be this easy just to create your sauce for your pad thai noodles. So I'm going to give that a big stir. Make sure you can hear my kitty in the background. And I have a Siamese, and he has been like speaking like that for about 17 years. So So I would like to just tell you another little thing. So we are using red peppers today. I'm going to be using red peppers in this. And I do clean my vegetables before I eat them. And I just wanted to give a little shout out to Norwex, because this is what I use to clean my produce. I just spray it on and I leave it. I think they tell you exactly how long to leave it for, about 2 minutes. And then you rinse it off, and that's it. You actually you can get the little Norwex scrubby vegetable thing. They come as a set, and you can clean your vegetables with this, and there you go. It gets all the waxes off, gets all the toxins off, any kind of pesticides or anything that they were using, and it's all done. Okay, so we've got our sauce prepared here, and now we are going to start following the directions, okay? And I want to do this off the back of this so that you know how that everything is written here. You just have to follow it. Of course, I alter things slightly because that's what I figure. You know how to follow the directions. I can give you a couple little other fun things to do. So we've got our sauce ready, and then it says 1 tablespoon of oil in a wok over medium-high heat. We're going to stir in 1/2 pound of boneless, skinless, bite-sized chicken pieces. Okay, well, I'm not doing chicken today. I have tofu that I am going to be adding today, and it's extra firm. You can use pressed tofu if you have it. Just turn you around a little like this. You can use pressed tofu if you can find it. This was the firmest tofu that I could find today. So I'm just going to drain it out a bit. And I'm going to be cooking this tofu. I'm going to cut it into cubes. So I'm going to do that first. And I don't want a whole bunch. That's not for me. I just want a few cubes of tofu. I'm going to use our porcelain knife. It's perfect for this. And I'll spin you around again so that you can look at my cutting board. And I'm just going to do a few little cubes of tofu to put in to my pad thai. I'm going to cut them like so. Okay, like so. All right, and before we get into actually cooking all this stuff, I'm going to just cut up one other little thing that I would like to add to this, which is not on the back of the recipe, but it's something that I like. I'm going to do some shallots, and this is the perfect little knife for doing these shallots. So I just want to cut up a shallot to put in here. It's going to give me, be careful with that knife. It's very, very sharp. These porcelain knives are very, very sharp, okay? So be careful with that. The shallots are always a little bit challenging to get that little outside skin off, but just, you know, take your time. It doesn't take that long. There's probably a little trick to this, which I'm unaware of, apparently. But that's okay. So I'm just cutting into it, and then I'll peel off my little skin. I'm going to slice this. I have to tell you, I love this little knife. However, it is very new to me, so I'm very careful with it because it is extremely sharp. It's brand new. And I am used to using a humongous chef's knife. Most people are not used to using that, and this is like the perfect size knife. We do have a bigger size one, slightly. Oh, here go my eyes. Okay. So I'm going to put the shallots in with the tofu so that my bowls are prepared and everything is ready. Now we're going to move over to the stove, and I'll just swing the whole camera around because, like, I have a very, very tiny kitchen, as you know. There we go. Oh, it's very loud today. Sorry about that, everybody. Okay. I am going to pop over here with everything. First, we're going to turn our thing onto medium heat. And where's my little package? We're going to follow the little package. And I think it said 2 tablespoons or something of oil, right? 1 tablespoon of oil. So let's get our little spoon. And this is our 4-in-1 spoon. And we're using vegetable oil because it can take a higher heat. And we're going to add that in to our pan. And then we're going to saute up the chicken, which is what they said. But we're not going to do chicken today. We are going to do tofu, and I'm also going to do shrimp that I already have thawed out over here. So, here we go. All right, and I know I also have another thing prepared in here. So you're going to need 2 cups of red peppers sliced. So we have that. And then we are also going to need bean sprouts. And I just saw them here somewhere. I put them here somewhere. Oh, I moved them over here already. Okay, good. Very good. We're also going to need our fresh bean sprouts. Okay, so we're almost ready. We're heating this up. You want to get your oil nice and hot. So be patient with it. And then everything will go better for you. Don't try and rush the process. I'm just getting my shrimps that I had prepared here thawed. I always thaw my shrimps. You can thaw them in the sink, but I like to thaw them in water. And I'm going to take my Epicure tongs. These are the lovely Epicure tongs. And I'm going to be placing my shrimps in here. And I will get one little bowl here ready for them when they're done. Okay, so this just takes a little bit of time, but I'm waiting for this to heat up. You can place your hand down in your pan. Don't touch the oil, but you can feel the heat coming off of the oil. So I'm gonna just be back in 2 minutes when the oil is nice and hot, and then I'll show you how to do your shrimps and your tofus. I'll be right back. Okay, so now my oil is nice and hot, and I'm going to take my shrimps and place them in the oil. I am literally laying them nice and flat. They're slippery little suckers. Okay, you can hear them start sizzling. Okay, and I want to lay them in here, and just like I say, be patient. This part, it's not going to take you long to prepare this meal. Shrimps cook really quickly, and so does your tofu. So once these shrimps are all completed, I have quite a lot of them in here to cook. I'm going to place them in that separate bowl over there, so those who want to have shrimp can have shrimp, and those who only want tofu, if you're doing maybe half your family is vegan and half your family is not. So this will allow people to put in whatever they want, but authentically they can both be in. So pad thai has shrimp, and it has tofu, and the rest of the stuff that I'm showing you here today. But on the Epicure package, it tells you to use chicken. So use whatever you like, one or the other, or you can do it with none. And we also had one other ingredient that I didn't mention, which is eggs, and I have those prepared. So I'm going to let these cook, and I will be right back. So I want to mention that the trick is you put them in, lay them flat, and you want to leave them. Don't mess with them. Leave them until it gives it a chance for the one side of the shrimp to brown a little bit. And when it's nice and golden, that'll be about halfway cooked. So then you'll flip them and you'll do the other side. And you can even put them, it depends on the size of your shrimp. If you have really big shrimps, mine are kind of medium. So if you have really big shrimps, you can even put them on their little sides so that they balance, and cook those for a couple minutes so that they're all nicely browned. Okay, so my shrimps are nicely cooked. They're not overcooked, they're nicely cooked, and I've got those put aside. Now I have my tofu and my shallots, and I'm going to throw those in. My oil is nice and hot, and I did add a little bit more oil because I did a lot of shrimp. So if you feel like your pan is dry, add a little bit more oil. You do want this to have some oil in it. It's going to spread out the flavor really well for you. So I just want to cook this for a couple minutes. I've moved my camera so that you can see inside my pan. I'm going to cook this a little bit. So the great thing about tofu is whatever you cook it with, it picks up the flavors. So right now we just have the shallots and the tofu, and the oil has been flavored a little bit from the shrimps. Again, if you're vegan and you don't want to do shrimps, that's fine. Your tofu will pick up the flavors from the sauce and the peanuts and the shallots, and if you want to add peppers like I am and your bean sprouts, it's all going to be absorbed into the tofu. So the tofu is going to taste amazing for you. So I'm just going to brown this down a little bit. And I've got this oil, like I said, nice and hot, and I like to get my tofu a little bit crispy before we add anything else. So again, this is a really fast meal. If you wanted to, you could even pre-cook your meat. If you want to pre-cook your chicken or your shrimp or whatever it is that you would like to add, you can pre-cook it, and that'll make it even faster for you if you have some pre-cooked stuff in your fridge. So I'm just turning all these over a little bit to get them brown on the other side. I'm watching my shallots because I cut them nice and thin, and I don't want them to get overcooked. So I'm just watching my shallots, and once they get to be at a point where I feel that they're cooked enough, then I'm going to start adding all the other ingredients, and you'll see how quickly this goes. It's very, very fast. So as I said, I took 2 eggs also. I have 2 eggs in here. And that's the only extra thing I didn't mention prior to. I'm just flipping my tofu as we go. I love our little tongs. They're easy on your pans, easy on your hands, and they make everything easy. I prefer in this kind of a cooking to use tongs as opposed to something like a spatula, or this helps me to get each individual piece and make sure that everything is cooked really nicely. I also move things around a bit in the pan, rotating what's on the outside of the pan as opposed to what's in the middle, because the middle stuff obviously is going to be hotter, so it'll cook a bit faster. My shallots are starting to caramelize, which is what I want. I want to get lots of flavor here for my tofu to absorb. And my noodles. Can't you just smell that? Smells awesome. It's such a, I love the smell. And I love the smell of onions and shallots and garlic. I really like those scents. If you don't, and you don't like onions, maybe you have IBS or something and you can't, just eliminate them. Easy. Okay? So again, don't be afraid to alter your recipes. Cooking is fun. And these simple dinners make them even more fun because you know, everything is kind of prepared for you. You don't even have to try and figure out what spices to put in. You just go for it, right? Just dump that right in. You follow the instructions. Easy breezy. And you can see now that my tofu is starting to really nicely get golden brown. My shallots are about as cooked as I want them. So now I'm going to take my 4 cups of noodles, and I'm going to place those into my pan. And as I said, these noodles are the rice noodles, and I did not cook these. Okay, there's no reason to cook them. You just need to soak them. Soak them in nice cold water for about 1.5 hours to 2 hours. I'm just going to toss this around a tiny bit. I'm also going to throw in my red pepper slices now. There's 2 cups of red pepper slices in here. Ta-da! Easy, easy. This is such a lovely meal. I'm going to add, they call for 2 cups of bean sprouts. I'm taking 2 huge handfuls, and I'm probably going to add a little bit more at the end. You want to add a lot of these bean sprouts and peppers, because otherwise it's going to feel very heavy, the meal. So adding these in is going to allow you to add a lightness to the meal, a little bit of crunch, right? Okay, so now we've got everything started mixed, and I'm going to take my sauce and dump that in. Ooh, look at that, eh? We want that lovely pad thai flavor. We're going to cook that all in here. We're going to toss this all around. My mouth is watering. It smells so amazing. I got to get my pan on my burner here. I'm so excited. I'm pulling it closer and closer to me. Got to eat it. So I'm just going to let this cook down. Now, if you look, there's a little bit of moisture in the bottom of my pan. So I want to cook my noodles until that becomes no liquid, no loose liquid in the bottom like that. And then once that happens, then your noodles should be perfectly cooked, ideally, if we got our portions right. Our noodles should be perfectly cooked, not too soft, not too hard. And then we're going to be adding our egg mixture. So I'm just going to let that sit for a few minutes, not bother it. And I am going to add a couple tablespoons, I'm doing it with my hand, of the peanuts. This is a little bit chopped peanuts. I actually bought them like this. You can chop them yourself if you want. Just put them into your food processor, or if you have a Vitamix like I do, you'll put them in the blender and just pulse for a couple seconds. You don't want them too fine. I bought these already chopped. So let's let this cook down. I'm going to turn this right up, and we are just waiting now. And then I'm going to show you how to do the eggs. I'll be right back. Okay, things are heating up nicely. I was only off just enough time to just wash out a couple of the bowls that were sitting on the side. So as I do this, I'd like to say, if you like watching the videos from Epicure's Vintage Wife, Happy Life, that's me, please subscribe to my channel. You can also follow me on Facebook and Instagram social media pages. And we are really having some fun here. Now, I can already see we're almost out of liquid, so we're really getting there with, you can see the noodles are really softening up nicely. Everything is looking delicious. I'm going to let this go just for a couple more minutes here. Not very much. Yeah, so give me a like down below if you like what you're seeing, and subscribe to my channel. I'm going to be doing all kinds of great recipes, not only using the quick dinners, but we'll be using spices and all kinds of things like that, and follow me on Facebook. All right, so now I'm going to just slide all this stuff over to the side slightly, and I'm going to dump in my eggs, and I'll just break them up a bit like this with my tongs. And I'm going to pull this over so we can get this cooking. This is what we want. We want to just get it cooking a little bit here on its own. Hi, Hook. That's my kitty. He's an old guy. He's a 17-year-old Siamese cat, and he is just beautiful, and he's never stopped crying, ever, 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 ever. So once we have that cooked down a little bit, we're just waiting until I can see that the bottom is getting cooked a bit. Now I'm going to place all my noodles on top of that. So I've covered up all my egg, and we're just going to let it cook again. Then I'm going to mix that all through. And then we are almost ready to eat. 20 minutes, you're done. Especially if you had your meat prepared already. Chicken will, I did double the amount of requirements from the back of the package. All they've required is that you cook chicken. I did shrimp, tofu, and my not chicken. So, okay, so now I'm just gonna mix that all through. I can see my egg is coming nicely here. It's getting all mixed in. My noodles look perfectly cooked. There was no pre-cooking of the noodles. We're all done. I'm going to remove that from the heat. I'm going to take a big spoonful. This will feed 4 people. So I'm going to make sure you get a little bit of everything, because you want to have a little bit of your tofu. You want to have, some of the vegetables. Sometimes and they tend to fall down. So make sure everybody gets some. And then if you want, you're going to add your little bit of shrimp. Like that. And then take a little bit more of your peanuts. You can drop those on the top like that. And a little bit of fresh bean sprouts. And there you go. That's your pad thai with Vintage Wife, Happy Life from Epicure. And you can follow me on, like I said, on the social media pages. And if you like this video, like. Okay? We'll see you soon. Easy breezy. I'm going to put the link down below of exactly how to order this. You can order from me on Epicure. I'm so glad we had this time together. Bye, everybody. I hope you enjoy your pad thai. Bye.